is really one of the most disturbing, stomach-turning, grotesque photographs ever displayed of a 7-year-old child holding a severed head up with pride and with the support and encouragement of a parent.
So just how far back down the rabbit hole is the president willing to go? Or put in a different way, when you're confronting a group of armed sociopaths, how far back down the rabbit hole must you go?
All right, I don't know if armed sociopaths is the word. Armed Islamic terrorists would suffice. Let's go to David Tafuri in Erbil, Iraq. He's a former rule of law coordinator for Iraq at the U.S. Embassy in Baghdad and partner at Patton Boggs law firm. Hello, David.
Hi, how are you?
Good. You're in Erbil right now?
I am.
That is amazing to me. What is the latest? We have reports of ISIS making all kinds of statements that they have captured many Yazidi women and children and killed many Yazidi men. What's the latest that you know from your location?
Well, things are tense here. There's a crisis on two fronts, of course. The humanitarian crisis with ISIS having targeted religious minorities, in particular the Yazidi religion, and forcing them mostly all to leave their traditional homes, to flee. Many have fled to the mountains to hide from ISIS. And the second crisis is that ISIS is attacking the Kurdistan Regional Government's military, the Peshmerga, and Peshmerga positions all over the border that the Kurdistan region has with ISIS, which, as you know, is about a 1,000-kilometer border. It's a very difficult situation for this region, which has caused a lot of concern here in Erbil. The support that the U.S. government has begun to provide is very much welcome, but people here are hoping for much more.
Yeah, all right. Well, we know the Kurds have asked for weapons, and I heard reports that we're just sending them light weaponry, not the kind of weapons that they are requesting and the kind of weapons that they need to effectively battle ISIS. And again, these are well-trained, in many respects, a well-trained army and well-trained troops, and they feel that they could get the job done, but they need the hardware.
That's correct. Remember that when ISIS invaded Iraq, they took over Iraqi army bases, including the large Iraqi army base in Mosul, which had an entire Iraqi army division's worth of equipment. This is heavy weaponry that ISIS took over. So there is a significant imbalance between what ISIS has and what the Kurdish forces have. So the Kurds need heavy weaponry to counter ISIS. They're receiving some AK-47s and ammunition, and that's helpful, but that's not really going to correct the imbalance.
What about the humanitarian situation as it exists in the area? You know, we see these heart-wrenching helicopter rescues, and the people just, almost tearing the helicopter apart trying to get on. And then, of course, we hear today that the U.S. may send troops to participate in these rescues and increase the amount of people that they're able to rescue. So that would be boots on the ground, helicopters in the area. That would be a whole new ball game, correct?
It would be. It's a very serious situation. It warrants international attention. Thousands and thousands of Yazidis will die if there isn't a plan to evacuate them and get them to a safe area. The U.S. apparently is considering a rescue effort. I think that was very much a welcome development here. It will not be without obstacles, of course. ISIS is in and around these areas where the Yazidis are hiding, and certainly the U.S. is going to have to be careful with respect to the potential for ISIS to engage and try and interfere with any rescue effort. But of course, the U.S. is very much capable of doing this successfully. We've done much more difficult missions, and so it's a wait-and-see attitude here with respect to what is the U.S. going to do, as well as what are the other allies going to do to help.
What about blending in with the civilian population? I've heard reports that similar to Hamas, for instance. There are now members of ISIS that are blending in, and you can't tell them apart, and that would make it certainly much more difficult if we ever did try to participate in the rescue operation.
Well, I think that's a legitimate concern for certain. And the U.S., if it does engage in this rescue effort, is going to have to, take measures to protect against that. But we have very significantly experienced personnel, special forces. Our military is very experienced in Iraq from all of the time that we've spent here. We have many soldiers and special forces individuals who have done numerous tours here, so they're familiar with the culture, and I think there's a belief that it can be done successfully. You can't rule out all risks, but this is the type of thing that the U.S. Certainly can handle if it puts in the effort.
David, did we see this coming? I mean, the president insinuated, if didn't outright say, this was an intelligence failure. We didn't know that this was going to happen. But yet there's been talk of ISIS in congressional hearings for years, ever since Obama was elected president, or should I say all while Obama was president. ISIS and this caliphate plan is nothing new. And plus, we have intelligence where you are. We have flights overseeing, spy flights, intelligence flights, whatever you want to call them. How could we have been, as the president claims, taken so by surprise, or is that not true?
Well, I think there clearly were many reports and warnings that ISIS intended to come over from Syria, invade Iraq, and take areas in Iraq, especially in the Sunni-dominated cities. That was a warning that came from a number of different places. What took most everyone by surprise was the strength and power and effectiveness of ISIS, and also that the Iraqi army folded so quickly in the face of ISIS. It's not clear if there were warnings about that. But I think it's important to focus now on the present. ISIS is not going away. They intend to take as much territory as they can. The international community is going to have to confront ISIS at some point. And so the question is, are we going to do it now, or are we going to let ISIS become even stronger as they hold more territory, have the capability by holding territory to raise more funds, and also to recruit more military-age males? I think that's the key question right now.
David, what's it like? I mean, when you walk outside, I mean, tell us what it's like there. We're very privileged to have you on from where you are. Tell us what you're seeing when you are out and about, if you even go out and about.
Well, we are going out and about in Erbil, and I was in Sulaymaniyah, which is another large city in the Kurdistan region, a few days ago. While the situation is tense and people are worried, these cities are still very safe, as they have been since the 2003 invasion. The Kurdistan security forces and the Peshmerga keep pretty good control of the security in these areas, and so that has not yet changed. But what is a threat is that ISIS is only 20, 30 miles away and does have plans to try and take as much area, including in the Kurdistan region, if they can. And that has everybody on alert, and it's certainly the main topic of conversation here.
And can even if we decided today to arm the Kurds the way they want to be armed, can we get those weapons to them in time?
Well, I'm not a military expert, and I leave that to the U.S. government officials and the Pentagon to make a determination about that. But I do know that there's a belief on the part of the Kurdistan regional government, and I believe on the part of the government in Baghdad, that the U.S. can be very, very helpful, and that U.S. equipment, technology, and intelligence is very much needed to correct this imbalance in the short term, because ISIS has U.S.-made weapons and is able to be successful on the battlefield because of that.
All right, David, stay safe. Thank you very much for joining us. I look forward to talking to you again, sir.
Thank you.
All right, David Tafuri in Erbil, Iraq, ladies and gentlemen, former rule of law coordinator for Iraq at the U.S. Embassy in Baghdad and partner at Patton Boggs law firm. Unique perspective from a man who's there. And like he said, ISIS is 20, 30 miles away. And let's hope we arm the Kurds to the hilt before ISIS attacks, if they decide to do that. All right, coming up next, folks, it's Give Me Five. By the way, I said earlier that the ceasefire had ended and Hamas fired rockets. Hamas is accused of breaching the ceasefire on the Steve Malzberg Show.